Picture this. A self-made billionaire wakes up one morning and does something that would make most financial advisors cringe. He takes out a massive loan, not to pay off debt, not because he is in trouble, but to become even richer. Meanwhile, the average person hears the word debt and immediately thinks of one thing: danger. We've been taught our whole lives that debt is the enemy. But what if that is only half the story? What if the wealthiest people in the world know something about debt that schools never teach? And that difference is exactly why they stay wealthy. Today, a story about two investors. Both start with $30 million. Both get the same returns. But over a decade, one becomes dramatically wealthier. The difference: how they see debt. Most people assume the wealthy avoid taxes through shady loopholes. The truth is simpler and perfectly legal. They've learned to use debt not as a liability, but as a weapon to multiply what they have. Schools teach you to be an employee, to borrow for things that lose value, like cars and TVs. They never teach you to borrow for things that make you money. And that single omission is why so many people stay stuck. So, our two investors, let's call them Alex and Brianna, both start the year with $30 million in the market, earning good returns. Both owe $3 million in taxes on their gains. Here's where their paths split. Alex does what we're all taught. He sells $3 million of his investments, pays the tax man, and moves on. Problem solved, right? But Brianna, she does something completely different. Brianna doesn't sell a single stock. Instead, she walks into a bank and gets a $3 million loan. Using her $30 million portfolio as collateral, she pays her taxes with the bank's money. Now, here is the key. Her $30 million is still in the market, untouched, still growing, still compounding. Alex's portfolio is now $27 million. It is working with less, but the real magic is in the loan itself. The interest rate is fixed, locked in. And when you lock in a cost, while inflation is running wild, you gain a massive hidden advantage. Here is the secret. Inflation works for you when you have fixed-rate debt. Imagine you borrow at 5%. That cost is locked in forever. But as inflation rises, the dollars you use to pay back that loan become less valuable each year. You're repaying a loan with cheaper money. The wealthy use this principle constantly. It is called leverage. And it is a double-edged sword. If you borrow at 5% to buy an asset, that grows by 15%. You've just made a fortune on someone else's money. But if that asset only makes 3% or loses value, you're paying the bank out of your own pocket. That is the fast track to bankruptcy. This isn't reckless gambling. It is calculated risk, used only when the numbers make sense. And an asset produces enough cash to pay for itself. But the real strategy isn't just about paying taxes. It is about buying new assets. Imagine you own a building generating rental income. You see another one for sale, a better opportunity. Instead of selling your first building and paying huge taxes, you go to a bank. You use the cash flow from your first building as proof you can handle a new loan. The bank lends you the money. You buy the second building. Now you own two properties, both generating income, both appreciating, both building your empire, all while your original capital stayed put. For most people, debt is a burden to be eliminated.